Alright, Charles. Lead writer here. Kemerovo is a great choice. 12 million words. Yeah, I can believe that. I was actually saying just earlier, I used to work as a content creator. No, I work as a content creator. What's the word? Content designer. So, I was a writer as well. And yeah, that's exactly the type of writing I would like doing. So, kudos on the country introductions. That's all I can give you kudos for right now, because it's all I've actually got to. So we're going for Kemerovo. Where are they? Kemerovo. Here they are. And this is actually going to give me just a second to click around Kemerovo so I can see who's around us. So Krasnoyarsk, Andreev. Nope, don't remember them. Tomsk, Pasternak. Tomsk was the... yeah, provisional government. These are the Republicans, potentially. Novosibirsk. Don't know. Oroshia. Legacy of the Siberian Plan. Religious divide. Christian socialism. Agrarian economy. Oh, so that's basically the Orthodox Church. Then we have the People's Revolutionary Council down here with Vasilevsky. Red Army in exile. Siberian Black Army we already saw. Those are basically the anarchists. It's just this guy. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know if he was one of the suggested nations. I don't think so. Alright. I looked at the mod on Steam and it says copyright infringement. Any ideas why? I don't know. But it's playable, so it doesn't stop anything. Principality of Kemerovo. It is no surprise that the defeats suffered by Russia have broken the spirit of her people. Siberia is filled with nationalist warlords, Red Army remnants, fascists, and Kemerovo. Originally a part of the Central Siberian Republic, the Siberian Wars saw any semblance of order crumble, and when proud men raised their flags over their cities declaring independence from the central government, Major General Nikolai Ivanovich Krylov secured a fiefdom for his cause. The Kingdom of Siberia follows an odd doctrine of maintaining certain socialist elements such as labour unions, but mixes them in with ancient aesthetics and a market economy. Indeed, General Krylov now styles himself as Rurik II in honour of the Viking, who had founded the old state of Novgorod. Yes! Ah, my love of Novgorod is going to show through here as well. This is like the perfect nation for me to start as, it really is. His followers are mystified as to whether the cruelty of Russia has finally broken the man's sanity, or if the entire act is a desperate gamble to gain public support. To the outside observer, the principality appears erratic, without clear cause and an unachievable mission, the revival of the old Russian Empire. However, Tsar Rurik II's actions are carefully guided by his two children, Crown Prince Yuri and Princess Lydia. The former has gained a positive reputation with the peasants as a reformer and a populist, while Lydia is becoming popular with the military and the King's Guard. There can be only one successor, however, and neither child will let kin stand in the way of the crown. If the Principality of Kemerovo is to survive this dark age, it must carefully navigate the Siberian landscape. The mutineers of Krasnoyarsk increase their raids every day. The Falcon of Novosibirsk thirsts for new prey, and beyond lies the Siberian Black Army that had once defeated the king. Even at home, dissatisfied workers toil away at the remnants of the Central Siberian Plan. But there are rumours of agitation and calls for a revolution. Tsar Rurik II must either be truly mad, or have a plan for survival. Balance court politics amongst the nobles and your successors. Continue the development of Siberia with the help of the Central Siberian Plan, but beware of worker tensions. Pick your battles carefully as Kemerovo starts in a central and exposed location. Mordredovo. I have a 50-word essay due tomorrow, but I can't... 50? You can do that in about 10 minutes. I'm guessing you meant 500. In which case, yes, that's a bit more. Central Siberia once stood defiantly as the Central Siberian Republic, and the world's eyes on its capital Tomsk as the young nation strove confidently into the future, holding most of Russia's remaining industry as a result of Bukharin's Central Siberian industrial plan. The Republic was seen as the likeliest candidate for Russian unification. In the end, however, it was not German fascism but the inability of the Russians to work together that brought down the nation. Internal strife and a foreign invasion broke the back of the Central Siberian Republic, leaving a myriad of successor states in its wake. To the southwest, the Federation of Novosibirsk and Barnaul plot to make good use of the agricultural land and the heavy industry to reunite the region. Legendary ace pilot Porishkin and his junta had a first-row seat to the collapse of the old Republic. They planned not to repeat its mistakes. East of the Federation, one can find the Principality of Kemerovo, led by King Rurik II. The small statelet's blend of medieval Russia and modernity leaves many confused. Some write off Rurik II as a mad old fool. Others note his well-run state and well-trained army is likely to play an important part in future events. East of Kemerovo is another breakaway state, led by the former CSR general, can be found in Krasnoyarsk. They're the ones that I wasn't sure about. The shaky democracy's future is uncertain. What is clear is that Nikolai Andreev and his fellow mutineers will fight tooth and nail to maintain their independence. Meanwhile, to the Principality's south, one can find the mountainous Karakum government of Oroshia. Cut off from the CSR central government, the small nation of the Alatai people and the Old Believers refugees have united in their efforts to avoid bloodshed and oppression for their religious beliefs. East of Krasnoyarsk lies an expanse of villages and free cities. Imagining the area undefended would, however, be a dangerous mistake, for the Siberian Black Army zealously defends the region. Adherents of a particularly militarized variant of anarchism, the leadership of the Black Army plots its next moves. Leadership. Anarchists. All of Russia must be freed from statist oppression, beginning with Central Siberia. Finally, to the north, the rump of the Central Siberian Republic controls the city of Tomsk and the vast Arctic expanses beyond. Many have written off the city of artists and thinkers as soft, decadent, and unable to contend with the loss of the majority of its army to successions and rebellions. Nevertheless, President Pasternak has not given up. Nearing the end of his life, the poet-president plans to entrust the rump CSR to a new political elite, one able to restore the Central Siberian Republic to greatness. Exhausted by war, the Russian Far East, and civil conflicts for a few years, the rivalries of Central Siberia have begun to rouse the various warlords from their fragile peace. There is only enough room in Central Siberia for one nation, one heir to Bukharin's industrial cornucopia. The Soviet-era's foundries and factories will cause yet more bloodshed as the unification wars begin. Unite the rich Central Siberian region, use it as a springboard to Russian reunification. Manage your share in the Central Siberian industries, expanding it and dealing with worker rights issues as the regional conflict heats up. Read it like a space wolf. The Horde demands a saga. As much as I really want to, I usually try to do a fairly good attempt at doing different accents, I cannot do Scandinavian ones. I really, really want to learn to do Scandinavian accents, but I just can't. It just ends up either Irish, Scottish, or Polish. It's horrible. One day I'll learn. One day. Vinsanity wishes me to drink some tea. Alright then. And the Marshal does too. Try to sing it. No. War features heavily in the New Order, Last Days of Europe. Players lead a military of the Cold War. Units have had nearly completely overhauled from Hearts of Iron 4. Helicopters and air cavalry ease ground attack and troop movement, and new tech trees devoted to air cavalry warfare have been developed. Armour featured in the mod is modern, with MBTs taking a main stage on the battlefield and an entirely new armour setup. Players, however, should not forget about infantry and mobile infantry technologies. Armour and air technologies are no replacement for boots on the ground. On the coast, new naval techs like modern aircraft carriers and stealth ships control the seas. TNO's reworked naval tech uniquely reflects the dynamic nature of warfare in the Cold War. In the air, the player may advance in bomber and fighter technologies that have been added to simulate the unstable world and the wars of the New World Order. Perhaps the most important decision any player must make is the future of the military doctrines. The introduction of long guerrilla wars changed how wars were not just about, but fought. The Blitz of the Second World War is no more, replaced by long slogs in hostile terrain. Victory is no longer a certainty, and a player's choices must reflect this. Orders of battle have been changed, and units shifted around to reflect this reality. Thousands of new generals have been added to give the player a diversity of characters to lead their armies. The New Order, Last Days of Europe, ultimately takes place during the Cold War and not a World War. Each of the major three nations, the United States, Germany and Japan, enjoy full nuclear triad capabilities as of 1962, locking the world under the fear of nuclear holocaust. As such, nations are ultimately at the whim of the superpowers of the world, and they are forever locked against one another without the means to secure an easy victory. Any war between the three superpowers will inevitably be World War III. When World War III is fought, it cannot end well. The sides will fight until one side begins to falter. If a nation feels it's about to collapse, it is unable to continue a war as has its core territory overwhelmingly threatened, then nuclear war is an inevitability. If a nuclear strike is launched, it will be a matter of days until thousands of nuclear weapons are deployed in the war. If this happens, it's game over. Luckily, diplomacy is the norm. Nuclear war is rare, extremely so if not playing as a nuclear power, and most nations would rather work through the issues instead of fight over them. The DEFCON tracker in the World Tension menu at the top right will tell you the DEFCON level is globally 2. The higher it is, the more likely diplomatic options will fail. Max level of DEFCON, war is inevitable. This does not mean that war is uncommon in the New World Order. I need to stop saying world. On the contrary, war is actually extremely common. You will fight several as almost every nation. However, wars are not expressed through direct conflict, but instead normally as proxy wars. Proxy wars are fights between two nations who are backed by two larger nations, using their conflicts as a way to battle one another. Without an outright battle, these can occur also during civil wars, which are also exceedingly common. During a proxy war, nations at war with one another may find themselves being supported by an outside power. If nobody is playing as the backing power, then the units will be gifted to the nation fighting the war. If a player is the backing power, however, they will be able to support the side via the volunteer system, as in Hearts of Iron 4, in vanilla. Be careful, however. Proxy wars are dangerous prospects and can rapidly increase the DEFCON level. Diplomatic crises may be common and possibly influenced by external actors. One wrong move and you can cause global destruction. Diplomatic crises are randomly fired throughout the duration of many wars and proxy wars. A diplomatic crisis is an event change showing an increase in tension that can escalate onto full-on global war. Traditionally, this means an event is fired for one participant in a conflict, allowing them to take some form of loss by backing down from the crisis or gain by pushing the other power. The defending power will then get the opportunity to do the same and escalate further or back down. This continues for some time, with the reward increasing but also alongside the loss, until one side buckles and backs down. If no one backs down, this will spark a war between those sides. Who has nukes? Japan, USA and Germany. Diplomatic crises are becoming more common the higher DEFCON level is, and can also be fired alongside peacetime. Remember to put the safety of the world before pride, or to exploit the game of powers in order to encourage the conflict. Interestingly, Italy doesn't have them, being one of the victors. The New Order and its demo are a narrative-based mod. This means that the mod is more story-based than any other for Hearts of Iron 4. What this really means, the gameplay loop of Hearts of Iron 4 is very different from one of the New Order. Gone is the linear build-up towards war with the option to choose an ideology before then, with an occasional event fight to give you a small boost. Instead, you'll be navigating a country much like a choose-your-own-adventure novel. While there will be plenty of opportunity for war gameplay decisions and many nations their own mechanics to learn, ultimately the feeling is one of playing a story. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the story while you work through your country. Paths are generally self-explanatory, and if you find yourself confused, please let us know, and we'll see what we can do to make it easier in the future. We don't anticipate too much issue though, so enjoy the game and let us know what you think. Mod info. New Order is ambitious mod Hearts of Iron 4 that lets you clearly know since you're already playing. We're a highly ambitious mod that's been developed for half a decade now. Wow. Find our various social media pages above. New World Order. And here we go. We have a list of the developers, which I'm going to scroll through slowly so you can appreciate all these lovely, lovely people that have contributed. Just highlighting someone I know is in chat. So, big applause to all of these wonderful, wonderful people. Modding is not an easy thing to do, and I'm always highly appreciative of those who do it. And this is definitely an ambitious mod. I don't think anyone will say it's not. Right, so, focuses. Let's take a look. So we've got the reign of the Mad King, which will lead to the King's Industry, the King's Society, the King's Army. And then we need to choose between Yuri and Lydia. And as the Daniel said earlier, focuses initially look really small. Like, this is our entire focus tree, but that just means that the others are hidden. Basically, you work your way through this, you do the warpath, new focus tree. You work your way through it, new focus tree, new focus tree, new focus tree. So it's constantly shifting focuses. So you can't like cheat and look ahead to see what's going on. So we're going to do Reign of the Mad King. Nikolai Krylov, known as Rurik II, has so far proved to be an exceptionally eccentric ruler. His rule thus far has demonstrated his continuous ability to contradict himself on several subjects, and few believe that his ability will end anytime soon. The Mad King has also decided upon strengthening the military in order to strike out against our neighbours, which he sees as rebellious subjects. There is clearly plenty the king has to do before he can embark on the warpath. The king's children are both attempting to persuade his highness to follow their visions on how to prepare the kingdom for future wars. Judgments will have to be made on whether to follow the populist policies of Prince Yuri or the brutal pragmatism of Princess Lydia. Rurik will need to determine the direction of the economy, the army and society he wishes to establish. Once these challenges have been overcome, we can set out on the warpath. So this will unlock the royal court decisions and also give us some political power. Which I am now pressing. We are a despotism, 55%. Rurik II is in charge. There is libertarian socialism present under Denikin. I wonder if Wrangel's around somewhere. If Denikin is, he might be. Okay, I'm really curious about this now. And then we have an army. 1 motorized and 2 infantry by the looks of things. Do we have a field marshal? Yes, Rurik II is in fact a field marshal and quite a good one. So he can command 4 attack, 4 defense, 5 planning, and then 2 supply. Brilliant strategist, war hero. Trickster, charismatic. He's actually a very good commander. How the hell has he lost so many battles? And then we need to choose the general of the army. In fact, I might even split these up a little bit more. And then we'll have the atrocity separate. So the infantry command. Career officer, politically connected. Engineer, winter specialist. Armour officer, politically connected, panzer leader. So Krylov we might put in charge of the motorized. Bearer of artillery. Winter specialist, hill fighter. Okay, we have lots of winter specialists. We have an improvisation expert. Nikitin. Old guard, cavalry, no. Old guard, cautious, no. Harsh leader, infantry officer, organizer. So I think that we're going to put Krylov in charge of the motorized, and we'll add tanks to that command eventually. And then we will have... I'm actually surprised that Lydia's not a commander if she was a favourite of the army. Yeah, we'll probably put Yuri in charge, though he does have the experience gain reduction. Bearer of artillery, hill fighter, winter specialist. You're actually quite good. I'm not a massive fan of Reckless. Although you are an improv expert, so possibly. I don't want the old guards. And you're an infantry officer, so you could actually gain quite a lot. Yeah, you know what? I actually quite like you in charge of the infantry, seeing as you are an infantry officer. That's not the same Denikin. Are you sure? I'm pretty sure it was Pavel Denikin. Wrangel will be 84 if he was still alive. I mean, there are some of the old guards still around. Okay, research. I have been told that there is a lot of research going on here. And they're not wrong. All the way down up to 1988. That is quite a long time from now. 26 years. Interesting. Although it starts in 36. That makes sense, don't get me wrong. So we are currently behind the curve by quite a long way. We should be up here. So we do actually have the Strela 2s. Enemy air support, so that is anti-air missiles, I guess. We are behind in motorized. And we're also behind in Special Forces. In fact, Special Forces just stop in 62. Which I'm a little bit surprised by. Oh, we have helicopters. I mean, we don't, but they are available. Heffalopter strike forces. Then we have support, which are engineering, with flamethrowers, which give engineer company soft attacks. Interesting. We have recon, which does what you expect. Main battle tank recon, infantry fighting vehicle, motorized, and recon company. Military police, maintenance, field hospitals, logistics, signals, helicopters, scout helicopters and transport helicopters, which I think give... Okay, so scout helicopters give reconnaissance, and transports give trickle back and experience loss. So transport helicopters function the same as logistics companies. Okay, interesting. Armour, so these are the three types of armour: APCs, IFVs, and main battle tanks, with tracks and gun upgrades for each. Very swish, all the way up to 1990. Bloody hell. Artillery, split up between, wow, 5 different types of gun. So tank destroyers, oh no, self-propelled artillery, light self-propelled artillery, howitzers, which don't actually get upgraded. Oh yes, they do. They just don't have a carriage. Yeah, that makes sense. Missile artillery. Anti-air. And ground-based anti-air. So, vehicular anti-air, then regular anti-air. Doctrines. We have combined operations, maneuver warfare, and strategic theorem. Doctrines are relatively short. Shorter than vanilla, certainly. Naval. Corvettes, frigates, destroyers, cruisers, battleships, carriers, submarines. And then various armaments for each. Oh, we've got nuclear battleships, which I'm guessing requires nuclear tech. Need to see what the difference in these are. I'm a nation in the center of Siberia, so of course I'm most interested in the navy. So corvettes, surface detection's the same, sub detection's the same. They are incredibly fast. Hit points the same, fuel usage is the same. Construction costs, they're cheaper. They're more reliable. That's interesting. They have a lower range though. Never will ride of the Valkyries be more appropriate for a helicopter operation than with your Viking helicopter companies. I mean, you're not wrong. Any nuclear capable submarines? I would imagine so. Yes. Same stage, carriers, battleships, cruisers, subs. Those are all submarine capable. So destroyers are anti-submarine, clearly. We'll need to work out what corvettes and frigates are for later. I mean, in modern naval doctrine, battleships are basically gone. Cruisers have taken over the battleship role as your fire support. Destroyers are your all-round versatile ship. They're anti-submarine and also anti-air. Frigates, I think, are anti-missile. And then corvettes are like your patrol boats. Naval doctrines, blue water navy, green water navy. And then heffalopters of various types. Instead of just giving you a name, I wish it told you what they are. Oh, transport, attack, scout, anti-sub. Okay, it does. Doesn't do that here, does it? No, just ship classes. Okay. That's useful. Kind of wish that was on that side, though. And then we have the light aircraft, interceptors, fighters, close air support. In fact, they've done it here. With various technologies beefing them up as well. Fuel tanks. Stealth. Stealth fighters. Multi-role combat aircraft from the 1980s. Yep. Heavy aircraft. So these... Oh, so these are just your fighters and close air support. Then you have the heavies, which are the tactical bombers, the strat bombers, and transports. Spy planes. Air doctrines. Air supremacy, air superiority, air parity. Engineering. Which is radar, air improvement, silhouette obstruction, naval improvements, research speed. Enables direct to fire, basic fire control, okay. Okay, I was about to say I'm a little bit surprised this isn't leading to more branches in computing. I'd kind of like to see this expanded. As computers become more important, you can use them for different things. Cybersecurity and that type of thing becoming more relevant. Although into the 1990s, I guess that would be like a very end game tech. Less important in the 50s and 60s. I don't know, what was the state of computing during the 70s? I mean, the 70s is when a lot of offices started adopting PCs. That was the rise of Microsoft, right? That was the 70s. 70s and 80s. In which case it would be like organizational computers, as opposed to military computers. Corvettes are cheaper but coastal. Okay. Special true ending. You research all computing and special tax and you end up as Skynet. This mod took over for me as best in Hearthstone 4. Too early for me to say, but it's definitely showing a lot of promise. And then we have production, industry, construction and resources. So that's extraction, that's building stuff and repairing stuff. Oh, interesting. Okay, they've divided up concentrated versus dispersed. Sorry, condensed, not divided up. Oh, and then industry we have vertical industrial organization or horizontal, which is factories in state versus efficiency growth and cap. Okay, that's a more interesting question. And then production, we have efficiency retention, efficiency cap versus cap and growth. Huh. Huzzah! And there's more choices, like you're not completely locked into it for the rest of the game. You have another one here. And here you have several choices, which direction you want to go, depending on how your industry is performing at any time in the game. That's a good change. I like that a lot. Alright, well, I'm going to do the fairly standard opening saying I want research and I probably want construction. Although we're not actually that far behind in terms of construction. So civilian construction would be mass factories and state, factory repair, infrastructure and civilians, and then military upgrades. So I'm going to go for the civilians. Wait, did that only take 27 days? Oh no, 217. Oh, I was about to say, wow, that's quick. Okay, we have free civilian factories. So we have consumer goods, traded goods. Are there any new goods available? So we have oil, aluminium, rubber, tungsten, steel, chromium. So no, those are the same.